Welcome back. Now, I'm not going to steal Shannon's vibe or anything here. I do, however, want to make a very familiar video for those of you that are fans of his channel, myself included. He's done this series on his channel this offseason called The History Of. He basically did it. He did it like 2 years ago. He did it during COVID. And it looks at every NHL franchise, their history, their all-time leading scores, things like that. It's really nice that he's not done every NHL franchise, because there are some teams that showed up in the NHL and just left. He did do the Cleveland Barons and California Golden Seals. That is a very good example of one. But long ago, there was a team in Pittsburgh, an NHL team in Pittsburgh, and was the first NHL franchise before the Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby, Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, 5 Stanley Cups. We had a team in Pittsburgh when I was negative 70 years old. It still counts. It still existed. They still competed for a Stanley Cup, and we were probably going to be talking about a completely different thing if that team did win a Stanley Cup. So today, just for fun, and because it's the off season and I'm bored, we're going to look at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yes, that was their team name. They became the Philadelphia Quakers after they moved, and then they folded. They were called the Pirates, while the Pirates, baseball team that still exists now, were a thing. The owner of the Pirates was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's make our team the same as the hockey team. Now, this team originally came into the NHL in 1925 and lasted until 1931. So it was a while ago, almost 100 years ago. But again, it still counts. They came in as kind of like the next evolution of the Pittsburgh Yellow Jackets, which were a minor league team that played at Duquesne's Garden. I guess that's spoilers for the format of this video, but that's where they played. And they went from the Yellow Jackets and became the Pirates, and they entered the league in 1925-26. So let's go over the all-time history of the Pittsburgh Pirates. None of you are going to know 99.99% of the names on this list, and neither am I. I didn't bother to research the all-time careers of most of these players. Some of them are a little bit notable, though. I'll go over these very quickly because I doubt you'll know who Hib Milks is. That's the Pittsburgh Pirates' all-time leading scorer. He had 122 points in, again, 5 seasons with the Pirates. They played 44-game NHL seasons, though. Hib Milks is your all-time leading scorer. Not Mario Lemieux, not Sidney Crosby. Hib Milks. Harold Durag, 93 points. Jerry Lowry, 61 points. And Tex White with 45 points. Love the old school NHL names like Hap Day and Tim Horton. And I guess Tim Horton's kind of normal, but now that he's a coffee, it's different. Wins leaders. Roy Waters. Apparently he was a Hall of Fame goaltender. We'll get over. There were 4 Hall of Famers that played on this team. Joe Miller. What a name. He had 16 wins. He's second. I'm not putting everyone here. There are a couple guys that had like 2 wins and 1 wins. No, I'm not rounding out the top 5 with some guy that you've never heard of. Retired numbers? None. Stanley Cups? None. Now, we get into the seasons / playoffs. The way the hockey guy has this formatted is playoffs since 2000s. Let's do that. Playoffs since 2000s for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Both the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team and the hockey team have little to show for with that. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, just seasons in general, 1925-26 is their inaugural season. They played 36 games played in the league, even though 44 was the maximum amount. I didn't bother to research why. I don't care. But it's still interesting. Now, this team was good. They finished with a winning record. 19-16-1, good for 39 points, 3rd in the entire NHL. The NHL only had like 6 teams back then, but 3rd in the entire NHL. If the Penguins finish 3rd in the entire NHL, next year, I'll be pretty happy. That gets them in the playoffs. They lose, though, in the semifinals to the Montreal Maroons. In the semifinals. The Montreal Maroons that year would end up going to win the Stanley Cup. Next season, 26-27, which is crazy because in a couple of years we can be saying 26-27 is this current. No. 19-26-27, they play a full 44 games. They go 15-26-3, 33 points. That's not very good, but it's not abysmal. They missed the playoffs. 27-28, this is arguably their best season. They play 44 games again. They have a 19-17-8 record for 46 points. That is good for third in the American division, but they lose to the New York Rangers in the semifinals. The Rangers that year go on and win the Stanley Cup. So the only two times the Pittsburgh Pirates made the Stanley Cup playoffs, I don't even know if they were called that back then, they lost to the eventual Cup winner. So could the Pirates have won the Stanley Cup? That is such a weird sentence. In 28-29, they played 44 games as well. This is where things just fall off the rails. They have 9 wins, 27 losses, 8 ties, 26 points. They missed the playoffs. 29-30, 44 games played. They have 5 wins, 36 losses, and 3 ties for 13 points. They missed the playoffs, and they are moved to Philadelphia, where they become the Quakers. I didn't bother to put up that season. Notice how I just say season there, singular. They only played 1 season in Philly before they ended up being folded. The Pirates, they played at Duquesne's Gardens. It was 5,000 arena capacity. It was built in the 1800s, the late 1800s. That's how old we're getting in here too now. And was demolished in 1956. So before a lot of you were even born, the team's arena was demolished. Their coaching history, Odie Cleghorn, what a name, and Frank Frederickson, who was apparently a Hall of Famer, and he also played for this team, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because he played, he's a Hall of Famers. First goal came from Lionel Conacher. He is a name I've heard of. I know he played for the Leafs, and I know he's a Hall of Famer. It came in a 2-1 win versus the Boston Bruins, so the Pittsburgh Pirates' first ever game was a win. Their most recent goal happened in 1930, but it's still their most recent goal, was Herb Drury in a 4-2 loss against the Detroit Cougars. And their penalty minutes leader is also Herb Drury. We get to single season records. The single season record for goals is Hib Milks again. If I ever see a Hib Milks Pittsburgh Pirates hockey jersey at a Penguins game, they get the award for the most obscure jersey in Penguins history, in Pittsburgh hockey history. They only played 44 games here, and contrary to popular belief, scoring was not up in the early NHL days. It was in the original 6 era, and especially in the Gretzky area, but in the days before the original 6 era, that's how far we're going back here, scoring wasn't, all that flamboyant. So we do have era-adjusted stats. His 18 goals, which is not a lot in one season, Hib Milks in both 27 and 28, and the 30 and 31 season, that's around 36 goals today, which is not bad. But should it lead a team? Probably not. Season records for assists, that's Harold Durag in 29-30. That era adjusted is 55, but it was actually just 17 assists. Harold Durag also has the most points in a single season with 32 in the 29-30 season, where that was the last season. They only had 5 wins, but he had an era-adjusted 79 points, which again, not bad, but should that lead a team in scoring? Probably not. Season records for wins is Roy Walters, who's apparently a Hockey Hall of Famer. He played in 27-28, and he had 19 wins. There's no era adjustment for that. Season record for penalty minutes, D.R.C. Colson. I know that looks like Darcy, but the way it's spelled out on Hockey Reference is D/R.C., like Brindamore. It's Darcy Colson, 103. I do not feel bad for making fun of these players. They are all dead. Or if they're all dead, 1930, say they're in their 20s. Yeah, they're all dead. Hall of Famers. Okay, this is a separate category that the hockey guy doesn't do on his videos, but I wanted to include this because, yeah, this team didn't really work out. They were only in the league 5 seasons. 2 of them were pretty decent, but they folded, bankruptcy, they weren't very good, 5 wins. But they did have 4 Hockey Hall of Famers. Lionel Conacher, who, like I mentioned before, scored their first ever goal. Frank Frederickson, who became a coach for them. Mickey McKay, I don't have a fun fact for him. And Roy Walters, the goaltender. So, there you go. I wanted to talk about this. I did a video on the NHL's entire history in terms of franchises the other day, and I posted that. Today, I wanted to look at specifically Pittsburgh. And, if you're interested in the Penguins' all-time history, go check out the Hockey Guys video there. This is a video I doubt he would do, so I took inspiration from him. And, yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates and Quakers, Philadelphia Quakers, were a thing. And to think that this is a conjointed and combined franchise between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Imagine if the Penguins moved to Philly and became the Philadelphia Penguins in the early 2000s. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Go Penguins, go Pirates, go Steelers, go Pirates as well.